everyone. My name is EeJay, and I want to welcome you to another episode of our Footy Fantasy podcast. Today, we're going to be doing a North London Derby review. With me, I have Stephen Bramble. He's an Arsenal fan. Say hi to the people out there, Stephen.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me.
And Stephen, Tottenham fan. Two Stevens on the show today. Say hi, Stephen.
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Okay. So it's interesting today, another North London Derby. I saw a graphic on my screen as I was watching the match. This was the 186th North London Derby, and Arsenal had won 77 of them. I believe Tottenham had won about 60 of them, and then there have been 55 draws. So today, we all know what happened. We went up to 78 wins over Tottenham in the history of our club. As you can tell, I'm also an Arsenal fan. We're very excited, but I want to start with you, Stephen. Tottenham. What did you think about the match going into the game and with the results that we saw? Just share your thoughts about the North London Derby of this past North London Derby.
Yeah, it's weird. Going into the game, I wanted to be confident about the Derby, right? But with what's been going on, I think the last time I was here, we were talking about the Man City loss, our loss to Man City. And I was saying that Mourinho had dropped his philosophy in order to follow the Tottenham way. Play Lucas, Lamella, all those guys, and just play more attacking. When really we needed to be on the counterattack because we have a bad defense, bad back four. So because of that, we had a really bad run. And then Gareth Bale had really great form for the last 3 games. And so he helped us win. He helped us do so much better. So coming into the Derby, I'm not sure what's going to happen because our upsurge is due to Bale. If Bale shows up, we'll play great. If he doesn't show up, it's back to the horrible losses that we had. And then before this game, right, this game week, so we had Everton losing to Burnley, and then Chelsea tied with Leeds. And so it set the stage for us to take those 3 points, maybe move up to 6, get up among that pack that's reaching for the top 4. But sad for me to say this, but it's the truth. Just historically, our club, Tottenham, is not good in those moments. In those moments where the competitors kind of have a drop in form and we have to come on and get our mentality right and take 3 points from a game. Just if you look at the history over the past 20 years, we're never good in those moments. So I did my usual. I have a sheet where I kind of try to predict these games and put numbers up and match up the players from the lineup. So when I looked at it, it looked like a draw, honestly. Both teams were even. But for me, the game hinged on Bale's form. So I'm like, hey, Bale might do it. I mean, it's Gareth Bale, it's Gaza. So we have to hope that he's going to do something. Never mind that you had Tierney back. I'd rather see him on the right against Cedric, but yeah, Tierney back. Tierney's a great quality always on the left side, crossing and his runs just incredible. So we start the game. You guys had the possession, and that's fine. But the main thing that I wanted to see was how Bale would play and if we would set up like we did in the previous game where we won 2-0. So one, Bale was playing and not so well. And also we had set up to attack with Lucas, Son, Bale, and Ndombele in the center midfield beside Højbjerg, which to me is wrong. I think, like I was telling Ayo, Mourinho's trying to do the same thing he did with Pogba to Ndombele. Ndombele is a baller. You got to let him express himself. You got to let him roam like he was in the beginning of our season. But Mourinho's trying to restrict him into this center defensive midfield with Højbjerg, which I just couldn't disagree more with. So we start the game, it's going so. You guys have all the possession, and then Son gets injured. So as soon as Son got injured, I think that substitution there changed the game for us because Mourinho took Lucas out of the middle and put him on the wing. Lucas is useless on the wing, okay? His best work is always through the middle. whether it's putting pressure on the other team and pushing up to score, or getting goals himself, like in the Champions League semifinal. But anyway, we took him to the wing, and that's basically a minus a player in the midfield. So I think it gave Arsenal the advantage right there. And from then on, I mean, I thought Arsenal was going to win. So then we got a crazy goal from Lamela. I was having so much fun with that goal on our Tottenham forum because, as soon as the sun went out, I said, oh, we lose a world-class finisher, we get a world-class Rabona specialist, because that's all he's known for, the one he did in Europa. Yeah. And as soon as I said that, we're all laughing about it. And then he scores a Rabona. I was like, oh my God, it was funny. And then you get the equalizer back, which was Tierney goes on the left wing, beats Doherty because Doherty is invisible, is useless. And then Ndombele just sit right there because he's not a central midfielder. He does not know how to press or cover. And so he just sat there and watched Doherty get beat and watched the cross come in. You guys get the goal. Second half, I at this point, like I said, I thought we were going to lose because of the changes that had been made. But then you get the penalty. I'm not going to I tell my players never to cry about a referee's decision because I think everything hinges on the tactics. And if the tactics are wrong, you're going to see the result from playing badly, whether it's in referee's decisions or bad luck on the field. So I'm not going to talk too much about the referee's decision on the penalty, but any normal soccer player knows that if we were back in Nigeria, if we saw that, the way the Lacazette missed that kick, everybody would be screaming, "Oh, 2! This is horrible." It was a horrible kick, but somehow he got the penalty. Okay. And then going on, Lamela got the red card for the stiff arm. We out there, we watch American football. Lamela tried to do the same thing. I guess he's been watching. He's been watching the Super Bowl. he tried to use the stiff arm, which really shouldn't be a yellow card. Honestly, in soccer, that's done. On Thursday, Sissoko was defending, and the player on the ball put his elbow out, elbowed Sissoko in the face. And it was a free kick, not a yellow card. Everybody knows that player on the ball might do that to protect himself and protect the ball. That's not a yellow card. Some referees let it go, some call it a foul, but not a yellow card. But let's get past that. I think we lost the game on the tactics and on the sub when Son got injured. And
okay.
So we weren't really going to do anything without Bale in the second half.
Okay, but to be clear, Bale was on the pitch the entire time.
Yeah, but like I said, when we started, he wasn't doing great in the first half.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I was fine with the substitution of Bale. I'm just saying we weren't going to do anything without Bale.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting points. I'll talk about that later. I just felt like you were saying that penalty was a soft penalty and the yellow card was not a yellow card. So maybe Arsenal will address that in his coverage.
I'm not going to cry about them too much, but I had to point them out. They were big decisions,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll hear from you, Stephen. What did you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's some things I disagree with, obviously, and some things I don't. I think the tactics from Mourinho, I'd agree he got it wrong. I think you're playing Arsenal and you see Arsenal make mistakes trying to play out from the back. You got to press, and he was sitting off. Yeah. So you basically said, yes, Arsenal had all the possession because Mourinho set up to defend, and he picked players to attack Arsenal, which again was the right thing I think you could do against Arsenal, just the way we've been playing. But then you put those players on the pitch and you have them sitting behind the ball, just giving Arsenal possession. You're not pressing, you're not really pressing. You're gonna lose the game in that way, and that's exactly what happened in the end. I think the goals on both sides for us were a little bit fortunate because obviously Odegaard was deflected. The Lacazette one, he miskicked and we got the penalty. Yeah, we got lucky. But again, Arsenal had so many of those decisions go against them this season. I'm not even going to sweat the fact that one or two of them went for us in this game. I think you make your own luck a little bit, but I think Mourinho gave Arsenal the game because he didn't press. Like, you can't press with Gareth Bale and a half-fit Kane. So one of those two, again, probably Bale, shouldn't have started the game. And he bottled that one because obviously Bale's been on form. and he didn't want to leave him out because obviously every time he leaves Gareth Bale out, he has to handle the noise that comes from the press and the fans about it. So he bottled that. Because in this game, you'd have been better off bringing Bale off the bench with like 20, 30 minutes, having pressed us, maybe made the mistakes came, right? Because in the end, Arsenal had all the possession and Tottenham still scored first. Right? So I just think he got the tactics wrong. So I would agree with that. I think the goals on both sides were a bit fortunate, but I'm not going to argue or cry about that either, because I think we've had enough of our fair share of bad luck with those kind of decisions all season. And I just, that's in the game. The game wasn't really much in it. I think Arsenal had a lot of the ball, but that was because of the way Spurs set up and how they were allowed to play.
Good. So, I mean, I agree with both of you to, I guess, majority of what Steven said. You guys definitely set up to defend, and that's how you played us the last time. Played us on the counter, and you broke and scored 2 goals. And I'm pretty sure that was your plan again today, and just didn't work as I expected. And before the match, I definitely predicted a 2-1 victory for Arsenal, and that's what we saw. I just felt like I felt like you guys would do this, and we would find a way to score. Now, I didn't factor in that Oba wouldn't start. That's a discussion for another day. Arteta said he left him out for disciplinary issues and wouldn't elaborate on that. Maybe he has now. I don't know. But
it's the tattoo issue, EeJay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's okay.
It's the tattoo thing.
Okay.
But and Arteta's the thing for me that and I'll talk about it a little bit. Is like he's given the league up, right? Yeah. So if you look at the rotation and what he's doing, like he's trying things in the league now to kind of see how the players play together, to give people opportunities, to give them minutes. Yeah. He's given up on the league, which I think is a big, big mistake, because I don't think we're out of it. Like if you look at if we had 6 points from Wolves and Burnley, we'd be 7 for 6 right now.
Yep.
So I think he's given up on the league. So I think a lot of those rotations, like he could have left Oba out in the Europa League for that tattoo issue. He decides to leave him on.
Tattoo has been a couple of weeks now.
Exactly, right? So it's just like he's given up on the league. He had to do something. It was a tattoo issue, and he left him on the bench just in case he needed. So it was like, I mean, he's given up on the league. So you can see that he's kind of rotating players. He's not making it very obvious, but he's looking more at combinations and giving people minutes than trying to win games in the league right now, in my opinion.
And okay, so when Arsenal got to 26 games, when we had 13 games left, I looked at the schedule. I believe we just lost the game. I can't remember. Maybe it was against City. We lost the game against City. We had 13 games left. And I looked at the table and I was like, these are all winnable games. I'm very surprised that he would give up the league at this point.
The Burnley game.
Yes.
I think it was the Burnley game. Like once we drew that game, we drew that game, I think he just said, you know what, Europa League's probably the best bet. So I'm going to focus on that. But in my mind, you can still do both. You just got to get on a run. Like you win a few games in a row in this league, like we'd be 5th or 6th. It's crazy. Like it's not that far of a gap. So I think all the games are winnable. The players are coming into form where he can actually bring people off the bench, and they're impacting games. So just manage injuries, yes. Try and do as well as you can in the Europa League, but don't be giving up points in games in the league because you're rotating. I don't get that.
Right.
I gotta say something though. I don't think we set up to defend. That's
you picked attacking players.
Now let me tell you, okay? Just because a team doesn't get the better of the possession doesn't necessarily mean they're trying to defend. They might be trying, and this is what's happened with us a lot during the season. We're trying to attack, trying to hold on to the possession, but just can't execute in that game against the opposition. It happens a lot, but it's a common misunderstanding. Sometimes people think, oh, if they didn't get the possession and they were setting up, they were trying to sit back already.
Well, you guys were sitting back.
Exactly. You weren't pressing.
They were trying to sit back and just leave the possession off. But they just weren't executing right. You
Steven,
can't defend.
go back.
Ndombele in the center midfield and Luke sitting behind the strikers. That's always the setup when we're trying to push forward. It wasn't a good matchup in this game.
If you're gonna attack, right? with those players you had on the pitch, you got to be higher up the field to engage Arsenal's back four. The reason you got murdered by Tierney on one side is because he's getting too much of the ball. Doesn't matter. Like, you got Bale. If Bale's not going to engage the guy and it's 2v1 every single time, Doherty looked like he was dead after 20 minutes of that game because Smith Rowe and Tierney.
You're making my point, Steve.
No. But what I'm saying is, but what I'm saying is he picked attacking players. No. But what I'm saying is he picked attacking players, right? But that he did not intend, because if he wanted to press, the team would have been higher up the pitch. He was happy with us having possession.
You saw it in the last 10 minutes. The last 10 minutes, you guys had the ball share.
Exactly.
You guys were pressing the last 10 minutes because you had to. Then you guys sat back the entire game.
Sat back.
Yeah, but it's different. See, you can set up to attack without pressing. See, pressing has become this thing that's become, hey, every time you're pressing, that's the only time it means you're trying to attack. You can be an attacking team without necessarily pressing. If you want to be specific, you say we'll have to go into this. It's a longer thing, but just to summarize, if you want to be specific, the press failed with certain players. Like you said, Stephen, you're right. With Bale, it's going to be hard to get that press, okay? Before, when we were doing this, right, when we were sitting back, we were playing with Son on the left, Kane sitting back, not playing as a center forward, and then Sissoko and Højbjerg. The way we've set up now with Ndombele and Højbjerg and Lucas in the middle, it's an attacking game. It's not necessary that we're going to be pressing, because pressing.
But it only works for you if you're higher up the pitch. And if I'm Mourinho, right, and I'm playing against that Arsenal team that we put out. So let me finish. Right? I'm saying this. We had Lacazette, right?
Yeah.
Smith Rowe,
yeah,
Odegaard, and Saka. Of those four, which one is beating your back four for pace?
Everybody's beating Doherty.
No. The only player that's getting in behind your back four for pace is Saka in that lineup. Yeah. If Aubameyang was playing, if Pepe was playing, and Saka.
Have you watched Doherty? Have you watched Doherty? You
again, Doherty was up against Smith Rowe.
Right.
Smith Rowe. Not just Smith Rowe. Remember, I talked about Tierney. Tierney makes those attacking runs all day like Ashley Cole. Doherty was against the combination of Smith Rowe and Tierney. And there was 100%. No way he was going to ever win that battle, especially if you put Bale in front of him. But
this is the point you're missing. I'm saying
Bale had to play because Bale's in form. He's the whole key.
He didn't have to play. Aubameyang's on play. He's on the bench.
Bale's the whole key. Listen, we lost 5 games. Out of 6, we lost 5 games. And we only came back to form when Bale started playing well against Burnley. What was it? Fulham and Crystal Palace.
You hear the teams you just named.
I know. But my point is that I did not want us to play that attacking style. I want us to always defend because our back four sucks. That's my opinion. So, like I said, once I saw us in this attacking style with Lucas in the middle, even though I like Lucas and his best work is in the middle, but I know that we're trying to attack. And I know that it's not going to be great. And Ndombele cannot play there. Lucas should not play as Cam. That's my position. It only works when Bale's on world-class form. And today he did not show up.
Yeah, I just say, like, with that, I'm saying with Arsenal's front four, right, and the defenders, we actually played into Mourinho's hands in some effect.
Absolutely.
Because we didn't play with our fastest attackers to get in behind your back four. Okay. Like, so when I look at that lineup, I'm like, you know what, we can play a bit higher because even if Tierney gets in behind Doherty, because Lacazette's in the middle, we don't have to worry about Lacazette's pace coming in behind. Like, we can drop a little bit deeper and cover Doherty. We can drop a little bit deeper and cover Reguilon. That's the point I was making, because the only outlet, really pacey outlet up front was Saka. And even in the middle, it's Partey and Xhaka. No one's coming from deep.
Yeah.
So you wanted to play higher up the pitch and engage your back four. You could have done so, and he chose not to. That was he went into that game saying, Arsenal are going to make mistakes at the back. I've got Kane, I've got Son, I've got Bale. They're going to punish it. That's what he did.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And what's
I'm just making
interesting,
the point
while I
that
was watching the game, while I was watching the match with a bunch of Manchester United fans who I call my good luck charm because they watched us win the game today. Um, the point we made when Leno came out with the ball, Leno had all the time in the world,
Exactly.
wasn't hampered, and other teams knew that if you come and try and let Leno pass out from the back, that there's the chance that you may get a goal, you may nick a goal. The lucky goal you had today wasn't even that. That was you guys all like four of you were in our box, and that was the one few times that you did that in the first half anyway, or you were able to.
one time.
Okay,
You're
one
right,
time.
EeJay.
Yeah,
The one time.
right.
I'm just making the point that a team can set up to attack and want to attack and not necessarily be doing it by high pressing.
No, and I'm not saying the high press.
Let me finish. The fact that you didn't see the pressure does not mean that we set up to defend. Do you see that?
Yes,
The fact that you didn't see
100%.
pressure does not mean that we were not trying to attack. They were trying to attack and we just couldn't get it right.
Of course you were trying to attack, but what I'm saying is the way you were set up in your defense, the way you were set up to do that was never going to be conducive to a good result.
Yes.
That's the point I'm making.
Yes,
so yeah, they were set up they had attacking players on the field, but you weren't able to press because the players you have aren't conducive to pressing. So you're not going to chase down with Kane and Bale in the team. Your midfield, yes, and Ndombele can get about the ball and do what he does. But again, Partey and Xhaka aren't going anywhere. So he's going to have to do something in the middle to keep the ball. And you lost that battle. Yeah. But what I'm saying is Mourinho put his team out there and said, we have attacking players on the field. We're not going gung-ho. We're going to wait for them to make mistakes and we're going to hit them on the counter-attack. And it didn't work.
Absolutely.
I don't necessarily think that. But
okay.
I hope you guys understand that. We just could not get the possession right. You did better than us in possession. The way that we're playing now, the way we set up only works if Gareth Bale is in tip-top form on the ball. Off the ball, this way we set up does not work. It's a complete change to how we played in the beginning of the season, where we were working off the ball and setting up to defend, good work off the ball, and then take a few chances on the counterattack.
Okay, we're going to have to switch topics. Good points. I love the discussion. Okay, now this is we're going to segue into this. It's probably similar. We're staying on topic with the North London Derby. Mourinho and, well, maybe just the teams. Mourinho and Arteta, we talked about how they were both hired a month apart. I didn't realize it was like to the day. So the 20th of November 2019 and 20th of December 2019. So I feel like they're both probably have the same time amount of games. Maybe Mourinho has a little bit more. Yeah. So what do you guys think? And we're talking about two clubs, Tottenham, Arsenal. They're not clubs that turn over their coaches, the way a Chelsea club does. So conceivably, they could have these coaches for a long period of time, conceivably. Times are changing. Well, which coach do you think and why, based on like certain factors, financials, just the way the directions your clubs are going, which manager do you think will have better success at which club? We'll start with Steven, Arsenal.
Well, I would go Arteta just because of time in career, right? Like Mourinho is Mourinho and he's not going to change. I don't see Mourinho improving in terms of what he is, right? So he's been very successful. You can't compare the two of them in terms of just career and what they've achieved. I would just, if I was building right now, I would more lean to the Arteta side just because, again, younger manager, developing, learning, just more opportunity for progression from where he is now. Whereas Mourinho is Mourinho. And unless you're going to give Mourinho a couple of $100 million, which we know Levy will never do, I just don't see how Spurs are going to... They'll probably win a cup here or there with Mourinho if they stick with him. I just think that's just Mourinho. Like, he'll always pick up a trophy somewhere. Yeah. But I just don't see him turning them into title challenging team. I just don't think he's that manager anymore.
Okay. And what's interesting, Tottenham hasn't won a trophy, at least in probably my lifetime. I don't know. In other people's
Most people's lifetime.
Yes. Okay.
But you're really young, EeJay, so it doesn't matter.
I'm not that young.
Most people's lifetime.
You said it.
Okay. So my thing is this: if Mourinho gets Tottenham a trophy, isn't that success? And I don't know if Mourinho, you guys know better than me, has Mourinho played anywhere or coached anywhere where he hasn't won a trophy?
No.
Okay. So the odds are that Tottenham may get a trophy under Mourinho.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Stephen, Tottenham, what do you think?
EeJay, so your question was who would be more successful, right?
Who has the chance to be more successful, longevity, like,
Yeah. All right. Yes. In terms of trophies, longevity, general feeling, I would say it's hard for me to say. I think it's Arteta. I agree for one with what Steven said about the resources. I think that Mourinho has a tough relationship with Levy. It's kind of like he's an experienced hand and he's here because he's the coach that'll kind of take what he gets. See, Pochettino was in a place where he was like, okay, I no longer want to just take what you can give me. I demand this. And he couldn't get it. He was out. Mourinho's ready to take what he gets. We've discussed this a lot on Tottenham Forum and boards. And it was kind of like this season, for example. We wanted to get a top-class center back. Levy came out of his bag with a Bale deal and Rodon. So Mourinho's like, hey, you know what? I'll work with them. I'll do something with that. And that's the phase that he's in now. He's not getting 100 million. He's not getting 200. He's just, I'm going to work with what I have. But the other thing about that, if you compare that to Arteta, I think, and tell me if, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Arteta is more aligned with his board and management. I always hear things about Edu and how they work together and how they have kind of a future plan that they work around together. And that's a positive for him. And then also with what happened this season with the losses you had and he's still keeping his job, that's massive confidence shown in him from his board. So that tells me that they're quite tight. I can't say, you can never tell in football, but that tells me they're probably tighter than most chairman, sports director, manager trios in the whole league.
He's got to, he's got to get the results. He has to get results. And that was the thing. Like, he just needed to get a couple of wins under his belt in December to keep his job, which he did, thankfully. But I think, you're right. They are connected. There is a plan. And again, as fans, there's things that are going to happen with Arsenal right now that we're just not going to agree with. Like the Willian thing, the Martinez thing. Like, I can just get fed up. I don't even go on Arsenal forums anymore because I just get fed up with seeing the same conversations because it's obvious they don't care what we think in that sense. And they're right. So again, they have a plan. They know what they're trying to do. They're definitely communicating and connected because some of the decisions that they've made are big decisions. Like, you're not telling me that Arteta just went to the board and said, right, I know he's on 300 grand a week, but Ozil's not in my squad today.
I know.
Like, those types of decisions, there's definitely support. And I think that the way he's trying to get the team to play is also in Arsenal's benefit for him, right? So he's fortunate in the fact that he's got the support. He's fortunate in the fact that he's actually inheriting a squad which is actually transitioning almost organically to allow him to build something. So he's got like these group of young players coming through the academy. He's got all these old players with expiring contracts that he's just been able to kind of move on slowly but surely. And he can add to it. Whereas Mourinho's coming in, he's looking at Kane going, okay, he's going to be fit this week or not? And they're never going to sell him because they can't.
So to buttress that, in that vein, there's more pressure on Mourinho to win something with these stars, proven stars who haven't won and who might leave. On Arteta, there's that sense of building something. And then on the tactics side, I hasn't won. And to be fair, one of the reasons I was happy with Mourinho is because I think you can't have Tottenham way, a club way that is not successful. It's not proven. It hasn't worked in 60 years. So I like Mourinho for that. But Mourinho has dropped his philosophy in the last 9, 10, I think 12 games. He's dropped his philosophy to follow the Tottenham way.
Because of the players he has.
Fine. But I'm just saying, when a coach's philosophy is this, and he's dropped it to do this, that situation, I think, is untenable for long-term success. It can't.
Yeah,
Something's gonna give.
but
Something
let me give you the thing with
that's why
Mourinho
I
that
say Arteta.
but this is kind of why I think Mourinho at this stage of his career isn't the same Mourinho, right? So he would go into a club, he would have a point of view, but he would build his team based on what he had. Like the foundation of the team would always be solid, and then he would have great attacking players that he would go and find, and they'd win games based on that. He goes into Spurs, to your point, Rodon, Sanchez, Doherty, like these aren't at the level of player that he's had elsewhere in his career. But up front, like I don't think I could say Son, Bale, Kane, he's not had a three. I can't think of, other than when he was maybe at Inter, where he's had that much firepower that he can call on, build the team according to that, and he hasn't. Like it's taken him till the end of the season to put Bale in the side. Doesn't make sense.
We've all seen this. We watched the training. We've seen the interviews. Even Bale knows it. Bale has not been at the form that he has shown in the last 3 games. So when you say, "Oh, he hasn't had this kind of trio with the talent he has," if we look at it critically, Kane is the world-class player. Son is a world-class finisher, but I don't think he's a world-class player in terms of what he does with the ball. Okay, apart from finishing. And Bale has not been Bale until February 2021. So he hasn't had this incredible trio of players. It's just not true. And that's why I say the counterattack suited us the best. When the 3 months we did it, we rose to the top of the league. As soon as we changed to the Tottenham way, we've been falling all the way back. Apart from these three games against Crystal Palace, Burnley, and Fulham that we just won. So I just think long term, I don't see it for Mourinho. He will win something, but long term, I would put my $100 on Arteta because I don't bet much on Arsenal people anymore. So $100, $100. That's it.
I agree with both of you. I think Arteta beats Mourinho, edges him out as far as like the coach that will last longer in the club that he's in, will probably do better long term. And you're right, it is because he's rebuilding. And you can see, even though the results haven't been different from under Emery, they really haven't been. It almost looks like we've been stagnant. But for the most part, we've moved players out, like Steven said. We're bringing the young players in. We're playing better, like just playing better in general. And I feel like the results will come. I personally, I'm a little bit more optimistic than maybe some other Arsenal fans. I think there's still more players that have to go. I'll talk about them later.
Like who? Who would you say? Just give me 1 or 2.
I think Ceballos goes back to Real Madrid. I do think Laka should go. I think we should move Laka.
There's like 5.
The way Laka.
There's like 5.
Okay, Steven has 5. I'm kind. I think the people on loan should probably stay on loan as well, or move them. But they're young, so I'll be kind to them. Who else do you have?
Bellerin has to go.
Okay.
Bellerin, Lacazette, Xhaka.
Okay.
Right? Like, I mean, Luis, he's doing a good job right now, but he's 34. Like, he's not, like, we're building a team and we've still got David Luiz at the club, and we've got Saliba, who we've paid 30 million on loan.
Yeah. And
I prefer to see Saliba make the mistakes than to see Luiz make the mistakes. That's just me. Like, we're going to be 10th. What's the point? Like, it's no different than saying, okay, everybody goes on about Willian. When we signed Willian, it was because all of our attacking players outside of Aubameyang and Lacazette are young players.
Right.
So they wanted an experienced player that can come in and do a job. That's why they signed Willian. He was free. It was like, okay, we'll take it. But now you say, okay, Saka's gone past him, Smith Rowe's gone past him, you managed to get Odegaard. That didn't work out. But the idea or the thinking behind it was to give your young players time and space. Like, all Arsenal fans up in arms right now because Martinelli's not playing.
Yeah.
So, like, Martinelli should be on loan. Like, he shouldn't be in our team starting every week. He wouldn't be in a top team starting every week.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of players he's still got to turn over because the way we want to play, it's almost like high risk but low mistake type football, the way we play.
Yes.
And the players don't have the quality to do it, which is why we drop points the way we drop.
Exactly. And we make these mistakes. Like, that's not what we should be doing.
So
you can see that's not the
so
plan.
but that's why I wouldn't give up on young players that are technically gifted. So, for example, if we can get Ceballos cheap, he's 24. I'm not sending him
He's
back.
just 24? I thought he was 26.
Yes. No. If we get Ceballos cheap, I'm taking him. If we get Odegaard reasonably priced, I'm taking him.
Odegaard
Because
has to.
these are young players and you can build with young players. So young players are going to make mistakes. Right? So I just think you keep building around these younger guys, especially if you get decent deals, taking advantage of those, and then you might get lucky like we have with Martinelli or Smith Rowe, or there's another couple of young players in the academy even we might get lucky within the time frame while everybody's screaming for players to get bought. So I think you got to keep evolving it. But the two for now would be Lacazette and Bellerin, purely because of ages and value. Because Lacazette's got 1 year left on his contract at the end of the season. He's already on £180,000 a week. We can't pay him. Like to give Lacazette another long-term contract on 200 grand a week is an absolute craziness when you've got Martinelli, Balogun. Like, why would you do that?
No.
I can't stand the name of Lacazette today. Let's just move on.
Okay. So we are running out of time, but I think this is a good place to stop. This has been a good discussion. Thank you, Stephen and Stephen, for joining us today. My only final word is North London is red. It means nothing. Someone laughed at me. They said we're still 10th, but hey, it's all good.
Hey, I feel you. Can I just quickly say that kudos for the week only is Kelechi Iheanacho, because he got his Premiership hat trick. I'm so happy for him because he was almost getting that reputation as a striker that never scored. I love it for him. That's all.
Okay. All our addresses are at the end. Thank you for having us. See you next time.